Hey guys, it's Yorkie here, and welcome to the channel for what is going to be our very first look at the 2023 BMW M Hybrid V8 GTP car. Yes, our very first GTP car within the world of sim racing in an officially licensed capacity. Obviously, there is the variable sim sport car over on R Factor 2, but that I believe is a Le Mans hypercar. Slightly different to the GTP slash LMDH cars that are going to be running in the 2023 IMSA season and running on from the years forwards. So it'll be interesting to see how this car exactly handles. We're going to take a look at a very first drive with the car and give you my initial impressions, being a bit of a prototype man myself here in iRacing. And also going to be taking a look at Sebring International Raceway, which is what we're currently, you can see the car driving around, as there's been some visual updates around this circuit as well. So we'll touch base on those. But yeah, as I mentioned, I enjoy driving prototypes here in iRacing. I've driven the Dallara P217 LMP2 car quite a lot over the last couple of years. It's been my go-to car within iRacing. So it'll be interesting to see how this GTP car compares to that old Dallara LMP2 car. There's been some updates here in this recent patch that's brought along this car and some other new content as well, where they've adjusted and nerfed the performance of the LMP2 car because it was previously too quick. It was multiple seconds ahead of real-world time. So they've added some weight, they've nerfed the power to basically better fit with this new top class within IMSA. And with that, there's, along with some tyre changes as well, the car should be a lot slower and kind of better match real-world performance. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this car compares to that previous LMP2 car that we had in iRacing. Anyway, I imagine they'll be fairly comparable, considering the GTP cars are meant to be fairly similar-ish to the DPI cars, but a little bit less aero grip. Anyway, before we get into my thoughts, enjoy some off-board footage. Alright, here we go then. Let's jump in the car. So there's a few setups for this car. I think Daytona setup, I think I saw a high downforce and a low downforce, and obviously medium and a baseline setup. So there's no Sebring setup, so we're just going to use that. I have slightly adjusted the cockpit camera position. Default is a little bit closer to the steering wheel, but moving it slightly back is a little bit nicer in the cockpit. Also means that when I look over to the right hand side with the track IR, I can see the full right hand wing mirror. So sounds okay. Let's get out on track and see how she drives. Okay, so I was just listening to the pit limiter there, which sounds very similar sound to the Dallara P217 LMP2 car. Quite a big oversteering moment there. Understeer. Wheels locking slightly. Not the smoothest line going through Le Mans corner, but never mind. Let's see what Sunset Bend's like. 7 gears in this one. Oh god. Well, there's the damage model. Oh dear. Yeah, it's very easy to lock the wheels up under braking. Let's take a quick look at that. Brilliant. Okay, so that didn't quite go as planned. So one thing that I am finding already so far is really quite difficult to lock. It's quite difficult under braking. It's very, very easy to lock a wheel. Right, so let's go again. Let's try and focus on actually getting a couple of whole complete laps. I wanted to stay quiet there on that the first lap, so you guys get a... Oh my god. I get an idea of as to the sound of the car, which it's all right. I wish it was a bit louder. But you can hear the electric motor kind of working a little bit. Hear that in the background. Yeah, there's a bit of nuances to the sound. You can hear a little bit of drivetrain whine and the whine from the electric motor, and there's slightly different sound when decelerating too. Obviously whilst it's recharging back up a little bit. Yeah, V8, 4-litre engine, 640 horsepower it's producing, plus whatever's coming from the electric motor of the hybrid. One thing that I'm certainly noticing is cold tyres. I know they've certainly done some updates to the tyre models, mainly for the Dallara LMP2 car and the GT3 cars. Brake quite considerably earlier this time. So obviously that's going to be something that we need to take into consideration. Can't be quite as aggressive with the tyres this time. There's going to be there's more tyre wear. Hopefully they're more accurately simulated. A little bit strange there, going through that apex. That final left, the car just hooked in just a little bit tighter midway through the corner. I'd say the slip lights are pretty fun. It's quite cool that they're there on the left-hand side on that A pillar, and then also to the right. They've done quite nicely in the sense, different to other cars where they're, you know, either on the dash or on the steering wheel themselves. See them momentarily flashing yellow as the front wheels are locking slightly. It goes purple going up, or the rear wheels locking, like that there. Got a reasonable amount of grip, as you'd expect. Not as much as the previous gen DPI cars, which these GTP cars will be replacing. But it feels somewhat similar to the LMP2 car. Although it's much easier to lock the wheels, although I haven't actually properly adjusted and tweaked the pedals here for this car. So I do need to do that. Just trying to have a look at the dash there. Quite a bit of stuff you can adjust on the black box. As you can see the current ERS battery amount, which is there down in the bottom left on the steering wheel. It's just my steering wheel here is actually blocking that, so couldn't see it initially. And it is recharging when... Is the recharge off throttle? Or is it only under braking? Only under braking. So that's something to keep in mind. Looks like we've got a few different settings in terms of the MG UK deployment. So I've got it on build at the moment, there's balanced, and there's attack, and then there's a quali mode. There's only so many times you can change it per lap, so we're stuck in quali mode for the remainder of this one. I think it's the same as the Mercedes W12 F1 car, where you're limited to the number of times that you can change the MG UK in a single lap. I think it might be 4. Then we've got some other things that we can adjust. We've got brake bias, which does feel quite far rearwards for a baseline setup, interestingly. Certainly when braking in a straight line. What I'm finding is the moment you start putting any sort of steering lock into the car, the front tyres then start locking. Otherwise, when you're braking straight, it feels like the rear is doing a little bit more work, or is more likely to lock up first. Not quite got that right there. First turn. So you can see in some corners, like that previous one there, for turn 2. Unless the little right-handed kink is called turn 2. You know, the second key braking zone here at Sebring. There's the fronts that are mainly going, and you can see here coming into the hairpin, it's the rears that are starting to lock first. So you've got increments of 0.25% on the brake bias. And then we've got 2 anti-roll bar settings that we can adjust in the car. One for the front, one for the rear. Then we've got TC gain and TC slip. So obviously no ABS here in this car. Can't adjust anything in terms of throttle mapping or fuel map or anything like that. It's all done hybrid. Unless there is a second back. There is not a second page. So yeah, those are some of the various different functions on the car, but it feels pretty good to drive. I'm enjoying it. Kind of need to get used to the braking a little bit. Running, as you saw there in Sunset, just a little bit deep. But I haven't got the pedal quite really set up right like I have on the LMP2 car. So I can optimize that. And obviously, need to get used to the brakes locking at various different points. And do some setup work to try and avoid and negate that. Otherwise it feels fairly comparable to the old Dallara LMP2 car, which has obviously been nerfed, as these GTP cars are meant to come in at the top. Starting to get a bit more confidence now. Yeah, going to be the top class in IMSA. Still lacking some of the grip and downforce in some places. But otherwise the car feels fairly good. So let's talk about this track, because obviously Sebring has been updated as well here in this build. Now to me it looks like mostly a texture update more than anything. It's one of the key inaccuracies with Sebring here in iRacing is this section of the pit wall here, where it's sliding off to the right. Many years now in the real world, that wall has been dead straight, so I haven't updated that pit wall there, kind of in and around the pit exit, where it goes off to the right. That obviously allows you to open up the corner a lot more than what you can do in real life. A lot of track looks very, very similar in terms of the curbs. There are some slight tweaks and changes to some of the curbs, such as the one here on the inside of the hairpin. Geometry slightly different on some of them, and obviously a slightly different look. Generally the track looks a bit cleaner. There's high walls look a bit more organised than it did previously. iRacing did quite a good job previously of adding a lot of randomness to the tie walls. They're obviously repeated a fair bit. That was a quite big crunch. Repeated a fair bit because obviously, you know, trying to keep memory down and all that sort of thing within the track environment, but it looks like the track has been looked after a bit more than it previously had. And obviously they brightened and made the textures, especially in this area, a bit more vibrant. It's a lot more kind of white concrete rather than the sandy yellowy concrete that they had previously. It doesn't feel different in terms of track surface, from what I can tell. Bumps are still in near enough the same places as they were. I think those two, some of these curves in and around here look a little bit different to how they were previously. So you may not be able to ride them white as well, as you would have used to in the old LMP2 car. So they've made some good improvements here, and then also some not so great ones. One other thing that you could probably notice is actually the trees as well. Looks like they're using speed tree, which I believe is what I saw in the patch notes. So we're getting more 3D trees coming into the track environment, and generally looking a bit better than the 2D billboard style trees that iRacing had been utilising previously. It's quite a nice visual update to Sebring. I just wish they altered the geometry of that wall at the pit exit to be more accurate and more in line with real life in recent years. Certainly liking this car at the moment. Definitely see myself running it quite a lot. I mean, the LMP2 car has been my favourite car in iRacing for quite a while, and I spent the last couple of years, ever since it came out, driving it quite a lot. But it is the go-to car that I'd take within iRacing, and it feels fairly comparable. Obviously there was a slight difference in terms of pace and that. Can't quite remember what lap times I was doing around here in the LMP2 car, but I had a rather nice setup. Certainly helped and allowed me to get those times. I think I've now run out of UK. No, still got 30%. Not bad. Oh, catching that inside curb. Here's some new scrape sounds as well. But yeah, it's quite exciting that they got a brand new GTP car here in iRacing. Obviously the first in any sim. We've got obviously the Vanwell Le Mans hypercar in rFactor 2, but this is the first GTP car that I'm aware of, and hopefully iRacing will pick up a couple more, so we've got more toys to play with, and we can have a couple of cars in the top class fighting it out of various different tracks. But yeah, initial impressions, very positive. Quite liking it. I just need to, you know, naturally as time goes on, tweak things with the car setup, find optimal settings and things like that just to improve stuff like the braking and have it locking a little bit less. But yeah, I'm going to shut up for the rest of the lap now. Let you guys enjoy. Feel free at the end of this video to leave any comments or questions that you may have. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please also subscribe. But yeah, enjoy the sounds of this BMW V8 GTP car.